You know, I knew that was coming. It still hit me. Considering the truth serum thing, it's actually weird that Price bothers to torture Hera. I guess I shouldn't say weird, it just shows the pointless cruelty that is her hallmark. As I've said before, she's kind of a Krennic, and she shows that in this episode. And she'll show it in the next one, too. There's this bit, has she revealed the location? Oh, I haven't started asking questions yet. Just torturing someone for fun. There's words for that. And I can't say any of them on camera. Why, that's not true. And then she brings in the drugs and the probe. It's just... This is also the first time, and to my knowledge the only time, we see a degree of actual cruelty from Thrawn. Which is a damn shame, really. I think it actually hurts his character. I mean, it could be interpreted that it's just him gloating over a defeated opponent, and that's entirely a possibility. And Lord knows that this version of Thrawn has the whole don't understand, don't comprehend, don't connect with your enemies thing, just destroy them. And that is a very Chiss mentality. But I stand by my statement. I think it is to the detriment of the character. It removes a layer there. Just my opinion. I gotta say, it's really weird that they go straight from the scene of horrible torture to, and now we're gonna glide in, and there's this uplifting music as they're building the gliders, and it's like, guys, horrible torture. Let's go. One of the things I find interesting in this episode is that Tarkin is actually stated to be against the Death Star project. And in fact, in the AU, and I've seen this in the book too, Tarkin was kind of against the Death Star project. I mean, not like it should be shut down, but for the most part he just viewed it as a failed endeavor. It was only when it was finally concluded and constructed that he was like, okay, sure, but now it's mine. It's just interesting. This is also a fascinating point in Star Wars history, because what you're seeing here is a confluence of three things: a movie, a book, and a show. No, I'm serious. So this is a lead-up, basically leading directly into the events of Rogue One, with the nature of Director Krennic and the continuation of Project Stardust. This is also a direct lead-in to the book Thrawn Treason, which isn't even out yet as of me recording this. I'm pretty sure by the time this goes live it will have come out. So obviously I haven't read it yet. And of course the show in question that we're watching. Once again, that interwoven continuity thing across media in the franchise is something I'm really enjoying here. And have you ever seen the movie True Lies? I think it's a good film. It's probably one of the better Schwarzenegger films out there. I know that's not really saying much, but there's this bit where he gets the truth serum in him, and he just starts telling the truth, and it is very funny. And that's basically what it feels like here, is Hera's just like, oh, you guys are in so much trouble. I wonder how he's going to get in. It's a very cute moment, but seriously, can we go? Can we leave quicker than we're currently leaving? God, maybe if they'd left earlier, whatever. You can't second guess the past, right? I mean, you can. This is a random thought. I've thought it before. I like those CNR gunships. I don't remember where they first showed up. It wasn't in the show, I don't think. But I do like them. It's a cool design. It's not as awesome as the old gunships back in the Clone Wars, but, it's there. Twice in this episode they pull the I need to tell you something, and they don't, until finally they actually admit that they love each other on camera, to each other. It's about friggin' time. Seconds before Kanan's death. As I said, I knew. I knew the broad beats of the story walking into this show, so I knew this was coming at some point. I didn't actually know when. But even if I didn't know, it was pretty obvious it was happening sometime around here. They actually telegraphed it last episode and this episode. In both cases, it started becoming obvious that Kanan was beginning to accept his role in things, to put it into certain terminology. And I have something to say about that, too. But it's very well telegraphed. There's a lot of signs that this is the end for Kanan, that he was about to die. On the one hand, that could be argued to be a negative thing. On the other, I'm kind of glad that they're willing to do that sort of a thing, to kill off a main character, arguably the main character, in a show like this. Now, granted, it's towards the show's end, but not a lot of shows are willing to do that. Even popular, well-backed shows tend to avoid such moves. To use an example, how many Star Trek characters die in the course of those shows? And I mean main characters. Now, I've said before and I've said again, death is not the only way to have a major impact on a character, but it is worthy of note that most, again, I just like the fact that they're willing to do that. It's indicative of the quality of writing, which is something I've mentioned before. It is in service of the story, therefore it happens. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to show my work a little bit. There's this bit earlier where Price comes in and she's discovered that Hera has escaped. And in so doing, she orders them to find her and to shoot on sight. Now that's actually really important. This has been partially established a few times here and there in the previous 2 seasons, but this is really demonstrating up front Price's mindset. It's just, again, something that'll come up in next episode too, and I'll talk about it there, hopefully. But short-term gains, long-term loss. Very short-sighted, very reactionary, very stupid if we're just being blunt about it. She solidifies her nature as a Krennic. She's willing to destroy their own fuel depot. That's a lot of material, a lot of valuable resource, and a huge amount of repair structure, all for the sake of getting petty vengeance on a few people who have kind of irritated her. That's it. And she doesn't even kill any of them except for the one. That is the kind of person she is. But again, going back to the earlier thing, the foreshadowing bit, she's willing to kill Hera despite the fact that she's not only already captured her, but has already injected her with the truth serum. One capture and a quick question and she knows where the rebel fleet is, but no, shoot on sight. Screw that long-term benefit of actually knowing where the rebel base is. Why would I need that? When I could instead get a brief moment of satisfaction of stepping on a bug. That's the kind of person Price is. She is everything wrong with the Galactic Empire, in my opinion. There's a lot of other things wrong with it that we could argue and we could debate. But I think if you were to pull it into a crux point, it would be people like her. Kanan's eyes heal at the last second so he can see her. I've heard a few people debate the significance of that, and there are 2 dominant theories, both of which I like, and I'm not sure which I'm decided on, that I wanted to share with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Thought number 1. One of the things that was established in both the EU and the AU is that the more connected with the Force you are, the more in tune with it, that Tetris thing I mentioned earlier, the more it can do for you, basically. This is actually an idea that Darth Vader was working on. Shadows of the Empire, back in the EU. He was literally trying to channel sufficient connection to the dark side to physically heal his charred tissue so he could function without the suit. Now, he was still in the beginnings of making that work, but it's a similar concept. You get yourself fully and directly connected to the Force, and it quite literally makes you more whole, hence his sight being restored. Because remember, it's not like he was born blind. The other theory I've heard is that he is effectively in that moment already dead, for all intents and purposes, and it is him becoming one with the Force. And as such, he can see, more or less literally, that he gets one final vision as he is destroyed and then disseminated into the Force. Yeah, this one got me, I'll be honest with you. I'll see you next time, guys.